It's finished. Indeed, we succeeded. Indeed, I may now formally state that it's finished. The SEC's letter of settlement with Ripple is finally here. It contains things you won't believe. We also need to talk about the Genius Act's failure, which led to the vote. If you haven't heard of the Genius Act, it's the stablecoin law that was circulating through the Senate before it was rejected in a recent vote. I will provide you with all the information you require. First, let's get started here. This interview was just given by Trump. He continues, "You better go out and buy stocks now. I didn't mention cryptocurrency, but you know, this is a topic of discussion among those in the field. I'll play it. Now is the time to acquire stock. This country is going to be like a rocket ship that goes straight up, I promise you. These will be statistics no one has ever seen before. That's a crucial component of everything. They have Trump derangement syndrome, you know. If you don't understand it, and the Democrats are only fighting it because they want to. They wouldn't quarrel if it were someone else, you know. A regular individual would be alright if they were seated behind you. They suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, though. Senator Schumer has converted to Palestinianism, you know. I have no idea what the ceremony will be or when they will present it to him. Okay, for the remainder of the clip, he merely speaks smack. Is this the reason why people are having trouble coming to an agreement on important measures in order to pass them? I don't know, you know. The United States Senate and Congress have been at each other's throats for decades now, and no one seems to know how to cooperate in the current environment. Here you go. The vote was unsuccessful. Senator Tim Scott, chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, accuses Democrats of being afflicted with Trump derangement syndrome. They're going with it then. Okay, here's the thing. They weren't even close. Let's be clear. To pass this, 60 votes were required. They received 48. Therefore, at this moment, it wasn't even close. Although this is an early procedural vote, Democrats have been putting up a fierce fight for reforms and have made fruitless attempts to persuade Republican leaders to postpone the vote. The vote is 48 to 49. Josh Hawley of Minnesota and Paul Rand Paul of Kentucky, both Republicans, joined Democrats in voting nay. The bill appeared to have simple bipartisan support just a week ago, but after a contentious Democratic lunch, everything went south, leading to Thursday's devastating vote. All week, important Senate actors have been gathering in an attempt to reach a compromise that will satisfy Democrats. Additionally, it states that Senate Republicans examined Democratic proposed amendments to the Genius Act, with Senator Mark Warner and Majority Leader John Thune engaging in last-minute negotiations. Okay, correct. Therefore, I wanted to gain a better knowledge of what this thing is about, and why Democrats are so against it. And here are some of the details I learned from it. So allow me to walk you through this. The Stablecoin Transparency and Accountability for a Better Ledger Economy Act of 2025 is the Stable Act, in case you're not familiar. That is the full name of one of two significant measures that are now being considered by Congress in order to create a federally controlled system for stable currency payments. Following a bipartisan vote in the House Financial Services Committee, the bill is now awaiting a full House vote. Alright, pardon me. Thus, the Genius Act comes after the Stable Act. The Genius Act is the one that was just rejected by the Senate, and the Stable Act is, of course, the one that is currently being considered by Congress. Therefore, I believe the Democrats may be thinking, hey, we have this bill that is going through the House. This one is not necessary. In any case, this is what the Stable Act contains. Right now, I really don't need to endure it. I would really like to discuss the distinctions between the Genius Act. What I intended to show you was this. Alright, so this is the one that is currently being considered by the House, and the Genius Act and the Stable Act are the ones that the Senate recently rejected. So here you are. Federal and state regulators are the only major regulators of banking. It states that only banks and licensed companies are classified as issuers, tiered by size. For example, a market capitalization of $10 billion. Alright, so I suppose that in order to qualify as an issuer, you must have a market capitalization of $10 billion. Therefore, you must have at least $10 billion if you wish to issue assets. Additionally, it states that reserve backing is 1:1 with U.S. assets and 1:1 with liquid, high-quality assets. After that, It states that algorithmic stable currencies are prohibited for 2 years. That would be painful. I see. Treasury-led research. Fascinating. Alright. Additionally, it states that the centralized state-supervised monitoring paradigm is permitted indefinitely. After that, the state will write smaller issuers to the federal government for significant issues, and the rulemaking period will be either 180 days or a year. I'm not sure what you people would want then. Which would you prefer? Something that is somewhat less regulated, perhaps with a slightly different language. Isn't it really hard? I had assumed that Democrats would be hampered by something more, or was it simply a matter of education about the necessity of stable coinage in the modern economy? How you know we're so into CBDCs, but not stable cryptocurrencies is beyond me. I'm really perplexed about that. Both bills await votes in the entire chamber. Negotiators will need to work out disagreements, particularly with the way big issuers handle stable coins issued outside of the U.S. Ripple is stating that we did nothing wrong during this entire period. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to find you, you know. We won't acknowledge anything that they ought to be saying, correct? Appeals withdrawn via legal processes. When the SEC ruled that XRP sales on exchanges were not securities, it unconditionally retracted its appeal of the July 2023 ruling. Ripple canceled its appeals. The appeal was unconditionally withdrawn by the SEC. Well, that was appealing. I understand. This was appealed here. Alright. Additionally, Ripple abandoned its cross-appeal. The SEC, you know, was planning to appeal. Since they were going to fight as well, Ripple had to make a cross-appeal. They both abandoned the regulatory shift now. The settlement is in line with a larger shift in SEC policy toward a more crypto-friendly stance under the new administration. And then, there's K's history. Discovered that the SEC first claimed that Ripple had sold $1.3 billion worth of XRP in an unregistered security offering. A significant court decision in July 2023 found that XRP is by definition as securities. The news of the settlement then had a 25% impact on the market for XRP. The settlement puts an end to a 4-year court struggle. It's finished. Indeed, we succeeded. It's officially over now. I can say that. Is it a day like champagne? Although XRP isn't exactly at 500, 1,000, or 10,000, should we still celebrate this? I believe so. I believe so. Listen. It doesn't matter if you joined the XRP army last week or if you've been battling for 4 or 5 years since the release of XRP and Ripple. You succeeded. You persevered. You persevered. Well done. Many people folded. Many folks left for other locations. You persevered. You were aware of what you had. Guys, there it is. Okay, I'll let you go. Enjoy your day. Have a glass of champagne. Don't drive, please. Okay, see you.